I introduced my girlfriend to my parents, siblings, and extended family on a family get-together a few days ago. This was the first time I had seen them since the start of the pandemic, and it started out really well with everyone getting along and having fun. That would change as more alcohol was consumed. My girlfriend and brother got into a heated political argument that suddenly escalated to violence, resulting in substantial injuries for the both of them. Accounts of who threw the first punch differ, and I frankly don't care, as they both actively contributed to the fight and antagonized each other. The fight was eventually broken up, but my girlfriend had the clear advantage. My mom screamed at my girlfriend to leave, so we left. I love both my girlfriend and my brother, and I don't blame either one of them for the fight more than I blame the other. My girlfriend also doesn't seem to hold any grudges and is embarrassed by her behavior during the incident. My brother and my parents, on the other hand, place 100% of the blame on my girlfriend and demand that I break up with her or they will have to cut ties with me. I will not do that, but I want to maintain my relationship with my family and somehow get them to accept my girlfriend, and that she should not bear all the blame in this incident. My brother is also demanding that my girlfriend pay for his alleged medical expenses and is threatening to report her to the police if she refuses. My experience of growing up in this town makes me think that sexism in the local police department makes it unlikely that anything would come out of the report, as they would most certainly refuse to consider the possibility that a woman can assault a man. I have offered to pay for my brother, but my girlfriend refuses to let me do it, and then she says that she'll pay for it if he can prove that the medical expenses are real. My girlfriend still clearly has visible injuries but did not visit a hospital. I suggested that she go get her injuries documented, but she doesn't want to do that. I just wish that everyone could forget about this and move forward, but I feel like my family's acting unreasonably, and perhaps I should just cut contact with them, as they're threatening to do with me. I don't know what I should do.
I walked in on my boyfriend doing the dirty with his gay best friend. My boyfriend moved in with his gay best friend 6 months ago. Here's a little backstory. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. My boyfriend is a social butterfly. He has 1,000,001 friends. I got used to this very quickly because most of them were female and a lot of them were gay. They actually became my friends too in some cases. Early on in the relationship, I met one of his best friends. Let's call him Tim. Tim is very, very gay. And he doesn't hide the fact that he thinks my boyfriend is very attractive. I asked my boyfriend if Tim ever made him feel uncomfortable, and he said no. But here's the thing. Tim sometimes says the most outlandish things about my boyfriend. Yeah, my boyfriend is hot. He's super fit, has a great face, so Timmy loves to comment on his body all the time. On several occasions, he's made really dirty jokes about my boyfriend's butt and the things that he'd like to do to my boyfriend's butt. Every time they go out, he's always trying to get my boyfriend drunk. And when he succeeds, he always takes off his shirt. So then my boyfriend spends the rest of the night shirtless. Obviously, this bothered me, but it didn't bother me enough to ever be concerned. Boy, was I wrong. A few weeks ago, Timmy threw a party and told my boyfriend not to invite me. I got really upset, so I showed up anyway. Timmy was trying to kiss my boyfriend. Part 2 is up. Walked in on my boyfriend doing the dirty with his gay best friend. I instantly knew the only reason I didn't get invited to the party was so that Tim could try to get with my boyfriend. But here's the thing. My boyfriend had so much patience for Timmy. Even though Timmy would make such perverted jokes about my boyfriend would laugh it off and tell me it wasn't a big deal. But I knew it did make him uncomfortable. But of course, I show up to the party anyway. When I got there, I found Timmy sitting on the couch with my boyfriend. My boyfriend was clearly drunk, and Timmy was trying to kiss his neck. As soon as Timmy saw me, he got up from the couch and asked me what I was doing there. He said that it was a boys only party. When I looked around, it actually was. There were no other women there. I told Timmy that I was going to take my boyfriend home, and he said that I was overreacting and that my boyfriend was just having fun. I walk up to my boyfriend and he is so drunk, he doesn't even recognize me. I grabbed him and got him out of there. The next day, I told my boyfriend that Timmy was trying to kiss him when he was drunk. But of course, my boyfriend defended him. And my boyfriend confessed to me that he knows Timmy has a crush on him and that he's basically his best friend out of pity. Then my boyfriend actually told me I needed to stop being a bitch to Timmy. Part 3 is up. I walked in on my boyfriend doing the dirty with his gay best friend. That's when my boyfriend basically told me I needed to stop being a bitch to Tim. I decided to ghost my boyfriend for 2 days because I was so upset at him. But here's the thing, my boyfriend was ghosting me too. So I decided to go over to his apartment because I hadn't heard from him in 24 hours. My boyfriend had given me a key to his apartment, by the way. But before I put in the key to unlock the door, I hear moaning sounds coming from inside. I instantly knew what was happening. Quickly unlock the door and find my boyfriend getting banged on the couch by his gay best friend. It's an image I can never forget. I'm actually traumatized. They separate and my boyfriend comes running over to me. First thing out of his mouth was, "We were just experimenting, it's not a big deal." He thought I was gonna be like, "Oh, cool, cool." I look over at Timmy and he's on the couch smiling. I couldn't help myself and I slapped my boyfriend really hard. I ran away and didn't talk to him for 2 days. He finally came over to my apartment after those 2 days and explained that it was just something experimental. And he swears that they've never done it before and that they never will again. I took him back, but I don't trust him. He says that Timmy will always be his best friend and that I shouldn't get jealous. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for not choosing to spend my birthday with my kids? I, female 37, am a mom of 4 kids, 2 girls, 19 and 14, and 2 boys, 16 and 12. My 19-year-old daughter and I got into an argument about a week and a half ago over my birthday, and now none of my kids will speak to me. My birthday was on Friday, and I had planned to spend the entire weekend with my boyfriend, because he wanted to treat me since it would be my first birthday that we were together. I didn't hear at all from any of my kids besides the casual text the whole week, and I assumed they probably weren't planning on seeing me or had forgotten. My 19-year-old was usually the one to plan my birthdays after I divorced their dad 2 years ago, but I didn't hear from her, so I made my plans and stuck with them. On Friday, I didn't get a single happy birthday text from my kids. This made me a little sad. But again, I just assumed that teenagers will be teenagers, and they were busy. They told me they were staying at their dad's this weekend. My boyfriend picked me up from work and drove me home so I could change into something nicer because we had plans to go out to dinner. When we got to my apartment and walked in the door, the lights suddenly turned on and my kids jumped and yelled, "Surprise!" Turns out they hadn't forgotten, and all 4 of my kids were there, and they had decorated my apartment with all types of balloons and decorations. I was so happy that they hadn't forgotten. And my 19-year-old gave me a big hug and said she was sorry. They made me think they had forgot. I gave them all big hugs and kisses for being so sweet to me. Then I told them about my boyfriend and I's dinner plans. My kids were upset that I wasn't staying. I apologized and told them I had made plans because I didn't think we were doing anything together. My 19-year-old requested to move the party to the next night, but I told them I couldn't because I had plans for the entire weekend with my boyfriend. They then asked if they could at least go to dinner with us, and I told them no, on account that my boyfriend does not like children.
Go on.
And him and my 19-year-old do not get along, so this would be very awkward. At this point, my 19-year-old got very upset and started to argue with my boyfriend for stealing me away on my birthday, and also at me for not even wanting to spend time with them. I tried to tell them that it was my birthday and I was allowed to spend it how I wanted, and I got to spend it with them every year, and that this year was special. My 19-year-old again started to yell, and by then my boyfriend stepped in and told her to stop acting like a brat, and then all of my kids started yelling at us. We ended up leaving and going to dinner, and I did spend the weekend with him, but my kids are very mad at this and are now staying exclusively with their dad for the time being.
Good.
Was it so wrong to want to spend my birthday how I wanted to?
Fuck you.
This is some this can cause deep-seated resentment.
Oh God, yeah. I can't imagine if my mom did this to me, I would be heartbroken. I'm sorry, he doesn't like you, so you can't come to dinner?
The fact that she said that out loud.
Storytime about how I almost got kidnapped at a grocery store. So a little background information, I was 16 and it was during the summertime, and I was super excited because I had just got my license, but my parents had this idea that if they made me drive around and do all their errands, that I would be a better driver. So I was pretty much like their BITCH. Anyway, so the one night my mom wanted to make this recipe that she saw on TikTok, and she didn't have the right seasonings for it, so who did she tell to go to the store? Yours truly, me. And on Sundays, the mini market that was in our town would close at 4 o'clock. So I had to drive like 30 minutes away to the nearest Target. And when I got there, I had to park in the back because they had like 10 handicap spaces up front, another 10 for when you sit there and they bring your shit out to you, and another 5 whenever you're picking something up that you already ordered. But in all honesty, that didn't bother me because I had never heard about any girls getting trafficked at a grocery store. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how I almost got kidnapped at a grocery store. So like I said, I parked all the way in the back of the parking lot. I mean, okay, not all the way in the back, but I was damn near close. So I go in, and I'm not too familiar with this Target. I've only been here a few times because the mini market in my hometown is usually the one that I go to. So I'm looking around, and I realize that there's this little girl following me. But it seemed like she was more like keeping an eye on me. Like she would stand like 20 feet behind me, but just like stare at me, you know, peek through the aisles. And she had did that for like 10 minutes. But whenever I finally went up to the checkout, she was gone. And this woman came up to me. She was like, "Oh my gosh, have you seen my daughter? She was running around the store. I don't know where she is." So I described the little girl to her that I saw. And she was like, "Yeah, that's her. I can't find her. Will you please help me look for her?" And I didn't have the time for this because my parents were going to wring my neck. But I said, okay. Part Part 3 about how I was almost kidnapped at a grocery store. So like I said, she asked me to help look for her daughter, and I was like, I'm gonna go tell a Target employee, and she was like, no, don't worry, they're all already looking, they have security all over the place. And she was like, will you help me check the parking lot because I don't know if she left. She was like, I've been having them look for the past 10 minutes. So I didn't think anything of this because I didn't think that some lady would try to kidnap me. So I went into the parking lot with her and I'm like, okay, where do you think she would have went? Like, did you drive here? Did she maybe go to the car? And she was like, no, we live like 5 minutes down the road. Do you think that we could get in your car and drive around? And I said, yeah, because I thought that it would speed up the process. And my dad's truck was really high off the ground. So while we're walking, I'm like, I think someone's under my car. And she was like, what? No, it's probably just the shadow. And I'm like, no, there's someone under my car. So I turn around to walk back into the store and she starts like pulling my arm towards my car. So an employee called the police whenever I went in there, and long story short, they were trying to kidnap me.